In this lecture, we are going to look at special categories of data. Now, just a little bit of a heads up, this is probably one of the more difficult lectures that you're going to come across in this course. If you don't already have a privacy background, and if you're not already familiar with the General Data Protection Regulation or the GDPR, there's going to be a lot of new content in here for you. Here, we will begin with some terminology as well as some examples, so you know what we're talking about when folks refer to special categories of data. We will briefly go over reasons why organizations collect sensitive personal data or personally identifiable information, that is PII. We will look at the obligations and safeguards that are required for that collection. And then we will look at Articles 6 and 9, specifically under the GDPR, the legal bases for the collection and processing of personal data, and under Article 9, the exceptions which permit organizations to collect and process this data. And then we will conclude with some processing best practices. When it comes to the term special categories of data, of course, this comes from the General Data Protection Regulation or the GDPR. But that concept exists in other statutes as well. For example, in the United States, in the state of California, there is the CCPA or California Consumer Privacy Act. And here we also see this concept of special categories of data. But under the CCPA, that law refers to special categories of data as sensitive personal information. And in short, what is a special category of data? It is a subset of personal information that requires enhanced protections. Examples of special categories of data include race and ethnicity, political opinions, religious and philosophical beliefs, trade union membership, genetic and biometric data, health data, and sexuality and sexual orientation. Why might organizations collect sensitive PII or special categories of data? Well, in the AI and machine learning context, this data is required for bias testing. For example, if we have a credit loan algorithm that is processing loan applications, we want to make sure that our algorithm, our model, is not discriminating against applicants based on protected characteristics such as race, ethnicity, gender, etc. Well, in order to test whether or not that model demonstrates any biases, we need to have this kind of data. Similarly, bias testing is not only a best practice, but is also a legal requirement. For example, in New York City, the Local Law 144 requires bias testing of automated employment decision tools, or AEDTs. And we will come back to NYC Local Law 144 later in the course. So under the GDPR, what are the obligations of data controllers who are processing special categories of data? In short, processing of this data is prohibited unless an exception applies. And Article 9 of the GDPR spells out what those 10 exceptions are. All organizations that are processing personal data must identify both, number one, a legal basis for that collection under Article 6. This is required of all personal data. These organizations must also identify an exception under Article 9 when they are processing special categories of data. So again, all personal data requires a lawful basis under the GDPR, and all processing of special categories of data require an exception under Article 9. For Article 6, there are 6 lawful bases. For Article 9, there are 10 exceptions. On the exam, it's really important that you understand this. Dollars to donuts. You are very likely to get a question testing you on lawful bases, exceptions, and maybe even a combination of the two. The final obligation that we're going to discuss here is documentation of processing. That is, when these decisions are made by a data controller, what type of data to collect, why it's being collected, what is the lawful basis, what is the exception that permits processing. All of those decisions need to be documented. Finally, data controllers need to have certain safeguards in place. These include organizational and technical controls, a data protection impact assessment or DPIA, policy documentation, as we mentioned in the previous slide, and throughout the European Union, remember we have 27 member states plus 3 members of the European Economic Area, or EEA. In the European Union, the member states may issue additional requirements. So for the rest of the lecture, we're going to be focusing on the 6 legal bases under Article 6 of the GDPR, and then the 10 exceptions under Article 9 for processing special categories of data. Remember, if a data controller is subject to the GDPR and is processing special categories of data, they must have both a legal basis under Article 6 and an exception under Article 9. Thankfully, for the AIGP exam, you only need to know these at a very high level. Under Article 6, there are 6 legal bases that permit an organization to collect and process data. Number 1, consent, that is the data subject's consent. Number 2, a contract, so there's a contract between the controller and the data subject. Number 3, vital interest, that is, if the data subject is unconscious, they've been in some horrible accident, and they are unable to volunteer consent. Then the data controller, perhaps in this case, it's an emergency room at a hospital. They may process that data because there's the vital interest of the data subject at stake. Number 4, a legal claim or requirement, perhaps due to some court activities, maybe a lawsuit or so forth. Number 5, public interest. This applies to government agencies who are conducting a national consensus, for example. And finally, legitimate interest. Now, we're going to come back to legitimate interest in a future lecture, but the most important thing to remember for legitimate interest is this is intentionally the most flexible of the legal bases. And essentially, legitimate interest means that the data controller has determined that it is in their best interest, it is necessary for them to collect this data. Now, there is a 3-part test that data controllers must undergo in order to determine that legitimate interest is permissible, and there's a balancing act here. One example is, let's say our organization is a convenience store, and this convenience store is in a bad area of town with high crime rates, for example. This organization, this convenience store, in order to safeguard its commercial activity, installs CCTV building surveillance. So there's a camera on the outside looking at the entrance and the windows. There's also a camera on the inside that's focused maybe on the cash register. The convenience store in this case would determine, well, I want to make sure there's no shoplifting, and if there is shoplifting, that I can take action against the person who stole from me. Then in that case, it is in their legitimate interest to collect data such as an individual's likeness, their face. A mnemonic device to help you remember the 6 legal bases is crazed clowns vandalize long purple limo. And so here we have our mnemonic device chart on the left-hand side, and on our right, we have the 6 legal bases. Here are the 10 exceptions under Article 9. These are similar to what we've seen with the 6 legal bases, but remember that an Article 9 exception is required in addition to an Article 6 legal basis when processing special categories of data. These exceptions are consent. The consent for processing special categories of data is a bit more strict, but that is really beyond the scope of this exam. There's also processing of special categories of data allowed for employment, Social Security, and social protection law. Vital interests, which is identical to what we saw with the legal basis. Processing by not-for-profit bodies, like a religious organization, for example. If the special category of data is made public by the data subject, and again, this is a bit more nuanced, posting on the internet may not be considered made public by the data subject if certain criteria are not met. I'm just flagging that for you in your career. You don't need to know those nuances for the exam. Legal claims or judicial acts, again, overlap here with Article 6. Substantial public interest, again, applying to government agencies or organizations. Health or social care, public health, and finally, archiving, research, and statistics. Because there are 10 exceptions, I've broken the 10 exceptions up into 2 mnemonic devices to make this a little bit more palatable for you. The first mnemonic device is cats eat very nice pizza. This corresponds to consent, employment, vital interests, not-for-profit, and public or made public by the data subject. And the second mnemonic device is lions share honey, providing aid, corresponding to legal claims, substantial public interest, health and social care, public health, and archiving, research, and statistics. Finally, what are some processing best practices for special categories of data? It's important that organizations are collecting directly from the data subject with consent. A sneaky question on the exam may concern how an organization can infer special categories of data from less sensitive data. Or how can the organization create proxies for special categories of data? Now, one way that you might do that is here in the United States, we have zip codes or postal codes. And there have been many studies demonstrating that with combinations of data, we can successfully infer a special category of data. For example, a zip code or postal code plus an individual's family name may estimate that individual's race or ethnicity. The example here is that if race or ethnicity is an important data point, data element for your organization, you may not need to collect that directly if you have zip code and family name. Now, this process of creating proxies or inferring insights from less sensitive data, one technique for doing this is referred to as Bayesian improved surname geocoding. I know that's a mouthful. That's a sneaky term that you might see on the exam, so I would commit that to memory. And finally, another quote-unquote best practice here would be instead of collecting the data yourself or having your organization collect that data directly from data subjects, collecting instead commercially available information. In this lecture, we have looked at special categories of data with a focus on the GDPR. Special categories of data include race and ethnicity, political opinions, religious and philosophical beliefs, trade union membership, genetic and biometric data, health data, and sexuality and sexual orientation. Organizations may collect sensitive personal data because it's required for adequate bias testing and because it's considered a best practice and in some cases a legal requirement. That is, the bias testing. Under the GDPR, there are certain obligations for the processing of special categories of data. In short, there's a general prohibition unless an Article 9 exception applies. Safeguards include organizational and technical controls, having a data protection impact assessment conducted, policy documentation, and remember that member states within the EU may issue additional requirements. The 6 legal bases for processing special categories of data that you need to commit to memory are consent, contract, vital interest, legal claim, requirement, public interest, and legitimate interest. And I don't have a slide here for the 10 exceptions, but I do strongly recommend that you commit those to memory as well. Finally, for processing best practices, you want to collect data directly from the data subject with consent. When possible, you may consider inferring insights from less sensitive data, for example, by creating proxies. And IAPP also wants you to consider commercially available information or purchasing data from data brokers.